Okay, welcome everyone to this deep dive. Today we're looking into some source material that takes a spiritual perspective on all the huge changes happening globally.
Right. It's trying to frame this current moment, all this transformation.
Exactly. We've sort of pulled together key ideas from different sources about unification, prophecy, and maybe even like a blueprint for what's next. And the mission here is really to understand the core message they're presenting.
Which seems to be that this time, right now, is crucial, pivotal even.
Yeah, they use phrases like ripe and ready for evolution.
And that humanity needs to elevate and unite. That's the key phrase.
Elevate and unite. Okay, so let's jump into that. There's a real sense of urgency in these writings.
Definitely. Like that quote you mentioned, planet Earth is clearly ripe and ready for evolution. It's quite direct.
And it adds, humankind must elevate and unite to rise more in harmony with the Creator and nature. It's a call to action, really.
It is. And there's this other interesting bit about something pending.
Oh yeah, the year of Jubilee celebrations remain pending. What do you make of that?
Well, Jubilee usually means, a reset. Liberation, maybe, like something big is waiting in the wings, but it depends on us.
And to grasp this, they say we need a different viewpoint. Disclosure eyes.
Right, and using things like news and news reports, basically looking beyond the mainstream story for a spiritually informed take.
Processing the truth with mercy, it says. That's an interesting addition.
It is. It suggests facing hard truths, but with compassion.
And what really jumps out is connecting today's chaos to ancient prophecy.
Specifically the fall of Babylon from Revelation. They see it happening now.
Not ancient history, but the collapse of current systems.
Exactly. Systems based on ego, materialism, exploitation. They even point to the verse about merchants losing their merchandise.
Including sloths and souls of men. Wow. That's seeing current economic or power structures in a very specific light.
A very critical light, yes. And things like the beast and false prophet.
Not literal monsters.
No, more symbolic. The beast as our collective ego, that will to receive for oneself alone, and the false prophet as the sort of deceptive ideas that prop it up.
That shifts the focus inward, doesn't it? Away from just external forces.
Completely. And that lake of fire image, it's reframed as intense purification, like burning away that ego, those illusions.
A necessary, if maybe painful, step towards the evolution they're talking about.
Precisely. A sort of crucible for change.
So, okay, where does this put us in like a bigger timeline?
They talk about a cosmic calendar. We're apparently at the end of the 6th millennium, right on the edge of the 7th, the Messianic Age.
A time of universal rest, spiritual connection.
That's the idea. And they pinpoint the 2020s as a major and giant step forward into that.
Even with all the chaos we see, like the 2020 U.S. election mentioned.
Yes, they view that chaos, that upheaval, as a necessary prelude. Clearing the ground, you could say, for perfect order and wonders.
Okay, so chaos is part of the process. But how do we actually participate? How do we make this shift happen?
This brings us to Rav Ashlag. His work is central here.
Right. He saw Kabbalah as essential now, presenting a choice.
A stark one. Follow the path of the Messiah, which he links to equivalence of form, or face a path of terrible pain, destruction, potentially.
Equivalence of form. What does that mean practically?
It's about transforming our fundamental nature, our inherent will to receive, wanting things just for ourselves, into a will to bestow.
A will to give, to connect.
Exactly. That's the spiritual way out of being run by our own ego.
And how does that translate to society?
He gets very practical. Love thy neighbor as thyself isn't just a nice sentiment. It means actually prioritizing others' needs.
Okay.
And then there's mutual guarantee, ARVIT, collective responsibility.
Rename.
Meaning we're all responsible for everyone's well-being. Society working by skill, receiving by need, equitable standards, no hunger, less ego-driven competition.
That sounds radically different.
It is. And he saw this ARVIT, this mutual guarantee, as essential for any real spiritual purity. Without it, the beast, that collective ego, stays in charge.
So it's the two paths again. Choose this path of bestowal, the path of Torah, or be forced onto the path of pain through suffering and conflict.
Right. Both paths, he believed, eventually lead to the same goal of unity. But one is conscious and chosen, the other is, learn the hard way.
And achieving this isn't just theoretical, right? It requires action.
Absolutely. Clarity comes through doing, through good deeds, mitzvot. The idea is action leads to the senses, which leads to understanding. You have to experience it.
Experiential learning. And collectively.
Working together. Mutual edification, helping each other grasp these ideas. And this challenging one, nullifying before one's friend.
Setting aside your own ego for the group's goal.
Pretty much. To build a unified force focused on bestowal, on giving, they suggest starting small, like a core group.
So the end game, as they call it, isn't just doom and gloom.
No, in this view, it's cause for celebration, weirdly enough. The purification is seen as liberation, freedom from old shackles of enslavement and illusions.
And this messianic age isn't just something we wait for.
No, it's something we co-create. Now, through conscious effort, shifting the collective balance towards virtue, towards bestowal, by transforming that core will to receive.
Okay, let's try to wrap this up then. The main takeaway from this material seems to be, this moment calls for deliberate unification.
Yes, and that unification happens by consciously changing our inner drive from receiving just for self to bestowing to giving.
Guided by these ideas like equivalence of form and mutual guarantee.
It's presented as an active path, something you, the listener, can actually engage with, not just sit back and watch.
Right, so maybe the thought to leave everyone with is this. If transforming that will to receive into a will to bestow is really the key, what could that possibly look like in your own life, right now, today?
That's the question, isn't it?